Hello everyone, I am Lolly and we are working on our December memory keeping journal today. I'm going to put my project cart next to me where I can reach. If you're watching this series, you will know that I really messed up on my numbering and I have it all correct so that now we have finished day 19. I want to go ahead and do 22, 20, 25 and the back cover so that will be done and you can have time to get your project done by the end of November. So this also means this is going to be a slightly longer one. So if we were left off at 19, and then what I did was I pulled aside every one of the 6x4s that I had already cut previously so I could see what I had, and I also set aside all the full sheets that I still have left so we can see I have plenty here to work with. Now you notice because of the branding strip on these like this, that some of these are actually a little longer than 6 inches. Okay, so one of the things I want to be aware of is my back cover. Do I want it to match this? And if so, then I should pull that out now. I might use this one and save that for my back cover. Put that right there. Okay. Going on number 20. Oh, another thing that I have is this one, which was actually short because I had used the back side and I had cut apart cards, and so this part is shorter than a 4-inch wide. However, I have this strip as well. So I think what I'm going to do is make this into a 4-inch wide strip. And we can accomplish that by lining it up here on our mat and securing that just by the edge. And either I can do it this way or under, and I'm sure I want to do it under. And you can see the grid here. I want to find my 4-inch mark and also give that, I'm just barely putting that on the edge there to secure these like that. And so then I can get out my barely art glue and put my pin down there. And what I'm going to do is go just under that right there to secure it. Oops. And then I can flip that over and also get under this side as well. Okay, now that I have that, I want to cut this at the 5 3/4. This is going to be the top of that pocket. And so it also needs that thumb notch. And I'm using the one right there. Oops. Okay. And I love it. See how that you can use your scraps. Again, it's sort of a Franken paper. And now this is one of the ephemera pieces that I have been fascinated with. And I can put it here, or I can put it here, or even overlap right there, which I think is what I want to do. I want to put it right on that border. Oh, I like it. Okay, and now we need one of our cards to be the back. And I'm wondering about this here, because I like the candy canes, but see, then this is going to be upside down when I flip it up. So then the candy canes, they would be backwards. So I'm not thrilled with that. However, we do have this one, which I think, let's do that. Okay, so let's glue that on. Awesome. Now, while we have my acrylic block here, we can look at our ephemera pieces while that's sitting there. I've been wanting to use this wreath, so I think I'm going to go ahead and do that. First, let's go ahead and get those holes punched because it really gives me an idea of where my decorations are going to be. It could go right in the middle and avoid the rings altogether. Let's go ahead and do that. With that there, I'm thinking I also want to use some of the words that I had set aside here. How about 'tis the season? A lot of times I will hand cut these, but this particular time I want to make sure that I'm getting this really straight. Now you may recall in the past I have used these, which are glitter dots, and they are super fun to use. I think I'm going to look for the gold ones here. You have gold and silver and all sorts of colors of these. I will give you a link down to this video on how I put that together, but I'll also give you a link to these in my shop. They are no longer available, so what I have in my shop is all I have left. But the beauty of these is they look like dimensional gems, and they are not. They are super fun. It gives you all the sparkle. The other thing you could do would be to put them here on your project. These ones are silver, but with clear insides. This has gold inside, and these are clear with glitter. And I just want to sprinkle a few of those around. This is actually going to go here. So I'm going to glue that on. That way I know exactly where to put these little gems here. Now there are several sizes in here, ranging from smallest to largest. So if you just pick a line vertically in here, one of the columns, then that will give you all the same sizes. Oh my goodness, it just really perked everything up. Now I'm going to set these aside because I might find a reason to use those again. I'm so glad I remembered those. Now again, I already said that we had up to day 19, so now we are looking for 20. And if I could find a green 20, that would make me happy. And there's one right there. And these are in the free downloads I'm giving you. It's going to go, I'm just seeing where that needs to go, right there. I'm not measuring out where to put these, so, you know, it's not that big of a deal. Okay, now we have this, which is a beautiful panel here. We also have several cards in the cut-aparts. You know what, I like this, but I already have one of those cut-aparts, so I'm going to use that one. And I went ahead and got out my red rickrack, and it's baby rickrack, which I just love baby rickrack. So this is going to make this really pop for me. I'm going to put this on the right and left sides only. And we're going to use the multi-grip, which is what I've been using for this project. So my goal here is to put this in so just the edge of the rickrack is showing out from the back. I obviously could put it on the front, but I just want the little teeth just showing like that. I'm leaving a little bit here. There we go. And let's do it this side as well. You can see there's a whole different look between putting it on the front and hiding it in the back here. Again, look at that front. Make sure the teeth are exactly where I want them. They're not teeth, you know what I mean. All the little mountains there. Oops. So let's secure that. And I'm going to let that set a little bit before I trim the edges of that off. I'm going to leave this out because I have a feeling that this needs to come back into play again. So once that's there, oh yes, I love it. Sweet. Now let's see if we have anything in the ephemera that might be a vertical shape that might look really good there. I don't know. You know what I decided? I'm going to be bold here. And this means that he's going to lose his little poof on the top of his hat. I know there's a word for that besides poof. If you think of what that's called, leave it in the comments down below. So this video is part of a series that I'm doing for my December memory keeping. Now, if you are not doing this and you don't follow memory Christmas holiday crafts, you can always use these techniques for other projects. Okay, so I am going to do two things here. One, I'm going to give some of this on the back of the rickrack because that is a fabric item and that will help this to really adhere to the project. And yeah, it's bumpy on the back with that rickrack on there, but you know, it is what it is. Okay, now let's lay this there. And this poor little guy is going to lose his little poofy on his hat because really want him right there. And it's still ever so slightly a little too big, but we'll see what happens. Let's put that there, and we need the other date. We need 21. See if we can find a red or a white number. And we have our dates correct this time. Yay. Okay, I'm not going to open the rings and put it on. I'm just going to lay it right there for now. And we are going to move on to 22. I had mentioned how much I liked this, but I couldn't use it before because it was going to be upside down. So now I can do it and it will be right side up. So if this is the front, I need to trim that by 1/4 inch. And one of the things you can do is take off 1/8 of an inch from each side so that your whole card is balanced left and right. I need a backing for this. So let's do this so we see where I want that. Let's do it right there. You don't always have to do the thumb notch in the middle. So let's see. I really like, ooh, this is hard because I like both of these, but you know this is my favorite of all these patterns. But I do like that this plaid shows. If I had done this, I think that would have been a waste of that beautiful pattern. So this way we can still see that plaid. You know what? There's so many steps, and I just realized the steps that I forgot. One of them was to round my corners on my other one. So I'm glad I didn't put that away. Now that we've got this glued, before I get too crazy, we'll get those rounded. This is a very, very gentle corner rounding. You almost don't even notice it. And the holes. So now we have this. I'm going to put this here while I figure out what goes on top. One thing I know is I am going to put the rickrack right on front here for sure. But I'm not sure I really want to cover up too much of this. I want to make sure I don't glue my pocket shut with this. Okay, that looks good. All right, now I'm thinking, let's follow through with this. So I thought this was what really made me inspired to use some other flat trim. Now I see I've got a stain here that I need to pull off. You know, I always put the little balls down. I could put them up as well. That way you could see it says Jolly Holidays. Now what I did was I just put one strip across there so that I could put the little solid line here across. Make sure my pocket is still open. And now that I have that, I can come through and just put a little bit of glue under each of these just to make sure. Now I don't have a link to this ribbon, and I don't know where I got it. Hobby Lobby. It does say Hobby Lobby. Okay, that is so sweet. You know, I don't really think we need a whole lot more because this is very busy. So now we need a 22, maybe a red or a white. That means that we put that there. This one is going to go right about there. The 23 should be green if I could help it. Now all we need is our design for here. And I sure love this paper. These are perfect examples of times that you could use your big matted pieces like this. Could lay them on there and see which one you like best. This is beautiful, but it's the same paper, and so it could get lost unless you matted it on another piece. You know what? I think I'm going to try that. I think it's actually kind of nuts for me to do that. Okay, so I am going to butt this up on blue cardstock. I have this really brilliant blue, which is French blue from Tonic Studios. I'm going to glue that on there. This is an incredibly brilliant blue, so I hope this is going to work out. And then I'm going to use this, which is a rotating craft mat from Fiskars. You see how that works. It's got some foam on the bottom so it won't move on my glass. I'm going to use this, which is my layering guide. I'm setting it to, let's see, the 1/4. Butt that up against there, against what the item that I want matted. And we're going to turn that again. And ta-da, that is very bright blue. But I think that is giving me the break that I need on that. So, wow, that really sets that off. And now I can see my holes, and what I'm going to do, I love it actually, because it really brings it forward. Even though we've got, this is the same paper as that, it's a smaller print of this. And I think I'm going to lower this down and center it and just punch those holes again. So I need to put this back through here. And that is the final result right there. And I'm going to go ahead and put these on there. Now we need 24 and 25. So I have, as you can see, I have plenty of these, but this is my own cardstock. I have plenty of these, but that doesn't mean that they all have to be used. And thinking, I think for Christmas, I do want to use this. Okay, so let me figure this out. So this will be Christmas Eve then, would be right here. Okay, this will be my Christmas stuff. Let's put that right there. 5 3/4. And the thumb notch. I'm gonna put it down this time. I'm looking at all of these. These are so fun. You'll notice 3 of these would barely fit on there. Let's do it that way. Let's do these 3 right there. And just trim them down to fit. 6 inches, so let's see. Oh, 5 3/4, that's right. Oh, on the money. Yes, exactly. That is amazing. Now, because I did my thumb notch down here, I might need to repunch it or put this down here and repunch it sideways. Let's do that. Yes, I should have glued this image strip to the front panel, repunch the thumb notch first. And I'm going to go ahead and round the corners, even though I know I'm going to add this across the bottom, because it might make it too thick. I'm going to mark where that thumb notch is going to come out. And I think that it is perfect. Great. Okay. Now this could also be a vertical pocket. So I'm going to glue here around the thumb notch, down and up. That is perfect. Okay. Cute. I love that I was able to save the Merry Christmas. And see how you can put something in that pocket right there. And I think I will, but we need to get this punched. And now I can put this in here. And we need a date. So we need the 24th and 25th. The 24th, I think, is going to be white. Oh, it's going to cover Merry Christmas. I don't want to do that. No, no, no. So here's the thing. I don't want to cover Merry Christmas. You see how that's going to work? So I'm going to come back over here and put it over here. And I have no problem with that. Hey, it's my book and I make the rules, right? And then we need 25, which I think I'm going to do in a white as well. Okay, brilliant. Now all I need to do is this. Now you'll notice that I did set aside these pieces. These two both say Christmas on them. But again, this is very light. These are kind of light. They could get lost. So we need to work on what we're going to do to offset that. I like having a tree because I don't have any of the big trees anywhere in there. Okay, I need something across here that is a band or something that is going to really make these pop. We do have this, which is also busy, but I think it's going to help. Now, see how by putting this across there, how it's going to give me a foundation? I can even lower it right there so the tree is kind of based in it. I could even put this all the way at the bottom and repunch my holes and do that. Now this green is looking really pale, but this, on the other hand, I like the way this helps, but I still want a little more. So I'm looking into using my doilies. I dug into my doily stash and found this one. And I also have this, which are mini doilies from Doodlebug Design, and they don't sell these anymore, but I still have some in my shop, and I'll give you the link down below. So I just want to play around and see what I think. I do like that that helps the green, and I can still see the green through this. It helps to really accentuate the tree. I could do that. I could layer them this way. And then I am going to just put this bottom part there. Okay, so what I need to do though is I'm just going to put some glue here. Do that. And then get a couple little extra dollops in here on the edges. Now, this can be cleaned up with water. It can be cleaned up with rubbing alcohol. You could take a flat scraper to it. Just be careful because your scraper needs to be pretty new. You don't want to have it warped or chipped or it will scratch your board. Now this, I can see here, if I repunch this through the doily, I know that this tree will fit right under there like that. But is it enough? And so I do like this. I'm just going to add that there. And maybe now I would like that doily in there. Let's see. I think just a hint of doily sticking out is what I really want. So first, let's glue this tree to this. I'm going to do this in layers. And then I will glue these onto that. That's what I like. I like just having the hint of that doily. Okay, let's get some fresh glue here because I've got this doily part. And I need to get that part of the doily in there. Now I can put the tree right between those two rings. And there we have it. There. Now, another thing I want to do is with this Christmas tree. So remember this, I want to put some of these on there. Let me get my pokey tool out again. And we have these little red things on there. They're really cute. Okay, let's go with, let's put a big gold one right there on the top. And that will be over the star area. And then I'm going to add some of the little clear glittery ones on the tree. I love that sparkle. Okay, I know you can't really see the sparkle that much from where you are looking at this, but now that I flip this over, I think it really needs something. And so I'm wondering about pulling this back in to do that, and I think that is necessary. Now we need to work on our back cover, and that is going to be the easiest because on the very back, I don't do a whole lot because I like that to be flat. I don't like my covers being too thick and chunky, so I'm not going to do anything on the very, very back. That's just going to be like that. I am going to add another layer of the Duralar on the back to give it protection and strength. But for this side, we definitely could do something here. Let's get holes here. That's kind of necessary. Alrighty, remember this ribbon. I think it would be great to pull this in, glue that on there, and make this a final pocket right there. So I'm going to glue the sides and bottom. Now let's get this on there. What I want to do is find something to go right in the middle here to add some interest. That's a little large, but 'tis the season would be good. And let's add this. And again, oops, I just see it. This has to be poked through. Because this is being glued onto a fabric ribbon, that's why I'm using this instead of my paper glue. I'm going to trim this, but because this is wired ribbon, I want to use really sturdy scissors and not my good paper scissors. These are, I think of these as more of my industrial scissors. These are my Tim Holtz ones. You want to make sure this is completely dry before you put it in your book here. Okay, so make sure you look underneath this video, and I am going to give you the links that you need, including the link to this paper and ephemera kit, which will be really helpful to duplicate what I'm doing here. And I want to get a couple of these on here as well because they just sparkle everything up. And I'm going to grab the gold ones and put a couple large ones or mediums right there. And that's all that needs. It's really perked it up quite a bit. Now, there are so many things. I love embellishing thickly, but then it makes it really difficult to get your entire project put together because it's just so chunky. But, okay, let's go ahead and get our Duralar. The other option is we can always go through and put eyelets, especially on the bottom and top layer. And we could also put hole reinforcers. So there we go. Let's go ahead and do this. Add this back part here to keep it safe. Okay, the entire playlist is under this video, so make sure you expand that area underneath the video title, and you will get the entire playlist and all the links that you need for your supplies. Thank you so much for coming along with me, and I really hope you had fun with this, and I hope you will have a great Christmas season.